Are we live? Not yet, right?
A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to welcome you to the 10th episodes of the webinar series titled Why Corporate Sector. This webinar is the 48th BSL webinar 2025-26. This webinar series is organized by the Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee of the BSL. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the chairman of the Webinar and Legal Symposiums Committee and the president of BSL, Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, attorney at law, and the co-chairman, Mr. Chatura A. Galhena, secretary of the BSL, Mr. Pasindu Silva, treasurer of BSL, and the conveners, co-conveners, and the members of the Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committees of the BSL. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Executive Committee of the BSL for all the support and guidance. In today's episode of Why Corporate Sector, we have with us an esteemed guest, Ms. Harshini Deshapriya. Ms. Deshapriya is an attorney at law and a seasoned group chief legal officer with over 18 years of legal experience, including 16 years in corporate law. Her expertise spans capital markets, mergers and acquisitions, corporate finance, arbitration, commercial contracts, and regulatory affairs across sectors such as real estate, manufacturing, investment banking, and insurance. She holds a LLM in International Business and Commercial Law from University of West London, awarded with the highest decision average. The LLB honors from the University of Colombo, a post-attorney diploma in corporate law, and a PQHRM from IPM Sri Lanka. Her prior roles include heading legal and corporate affairs at Lanka Century Investments PLC, now Ambient Holdings, with earlier positions at John Keells, People's Bank, and the Securities and Exchange Commissions of Sri Lanka in 2024. She was also recognized as leading in-house lawyer of the year by Talk World in Singapore. I warmly welcome Ms. Harshini Deshapriya for our today's session. Without any further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Shahara Herath, attorney at law, will also be the interviewer for today's session. So take over to you, Shahara.
Thank you so much, Rochelle. And once again, it's great to have all of you back on this Why Corporate Sector series after a lapse of a few weeks where we were not able to host the program. So once again, on behalf of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and the Webinars and Symposiums Committee, I would like to welcome Ms. Harshini Deshapriya, who is a leading lawyer in the field of corporate law in Sri Lanka. And she has been giving guidance to all the legal practitioners in the Janashakti group. So my first question to you, Madam, is now, if please correct me if I'm wrong, you have been a part of both, in the past you have been a legal practitioner in courts, and then thereafter you took up your position in the corporate sector, and you have been there for more than 1.5 decades. So I would like to ask you, what made you choose the corporate sector as opposed to a typical legal career of being a counsel in courts? And what challenges did you face in the early stages of your career up until you took up your position now?
Good evening, all of you. Thank you, Rochelle, for the introduction. Shahara, at the outset, I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to the Webinars and Symposiums Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, ably led by its chairman, Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, for inviting me to be part of this insightful session. So, Shahara, in response to your question, first one, why I chose to join corporate sector, I wish to share with you from the time I was 2 years, 3 years, I always wanted to become a lawyer, that again, practicing lawyer. My father was my greatest inspiration. He always dreamt of seeing me as a lawyer one day and also Supreme Court judge. Unfortunately, he passed away a little early. Then, however, his influence stayed with me. But when I was at the law faculty, I had the opportunity to intern at Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka as well as John Keells Holdings. So those experiences opened my eyes to a different side of legal profession, where law meets business, governance, as well as strategy. Around that time, my then boyfriend, now husband, he also encouraged me to join and explore corporate path. Most importantly, I was before I was called to the bar, I was offered a corporate legal position with an attractive salary. So that opportunity made me reflect deeply on what I wanted from my career. I was financially struggling also, but by that time, as all young lawyers. But then again, I realized general legal practice offers deep exposure to advocacy as well as courts, whereas corporate sector offers you the chance to be the part of the decision-making process and also to apply law proactively rather than reactively. Then again, integrating myself to corporate field is not about abandoning my true identity. That's how I consider, because I believe successful corporate lawyers think like lawyers, speak like business leaders, and act like strategic partners. So with that, if I move on to the challenges I had, of course, I had so many challenges as a young lawyer. The reason being, I signed with my first project was to handle Sri Lanka's first ever anti-dilution rights issue, where warrants were issued to warrant holders as well. So this was a new concept to Sri Lanka, regulators, shareholders, as well as the companies as well. Then again, I had little knowledge in that area. So I had to work day and night to grasp this. I had to steer that whole project. I was the liaising officer for shareholders as well. So it's such a struggle and challenge for me. Then again, but however, I consider it as an adventurous tour for myself. I learned out of it. That is advice I can give to young lawyers as well. Because if you wait for the perfect time, it will never happen. Right now is the perfect time. So I was rewarded also. Within 6 months' time, I was promoted to the manager grade as well. So that was the first challenge I would say. Other than that, there were difficulties in understanding business realities because companies operate in a different manner, not like traditional legal court work. They integrate into cross-functional teams. In a corporate, you have to deal with HR division, IT division, marketing teams where you have to present things in layman language and summarize things. They are non-legal professionals. So there's a difficulty, probably miscommunications could happen. However, we need to understand legal profession only is a support service. It's not the main business. We have to support the business. So that has to be understood by young lawyers as well. Then again, I would say present things in layman language is quite important. We are still struggling because business leaders, they want 2-3 lines, whereas we are quite used to lengthy technical justifications, interpretations. Probably those are relevant and those are important within the legal division, but not when we present to the board or quality circles. We have to present things in layman language. Still, we are struggling with that, honestly. Yes.
Thank you, madam. And also, this is just a reminder for all the participants here, as our webinar format is that we have about 45 minutes of discussions, and thereafter we would like to allocate about 15 minutes if any of the participants wants to raise any question pertaining to life in the corporate sector or how to get into the corporate sector, so on and so forth. So we will open the floor for questions at the end of this session. And thereafter, this webinar will be available on YouTube for future viewers to have a view of this webinar. And now, once again, I would like to emphasize that this webinar series was introduced by the Bar Association of Sri Lanka to encourage young lawyers and practitioners that to get into the corporate sector and also to showcase that there are avenues and opportunities available for legal practitioners in the corporate sector. And my next question, madam, to you is exactly that. Now, you have been in the corporate sector for a very long time. So, through your experience, do you see that there are better opportunities than maybe 5-10 years ago in the corporate sector for young lawyers? And are there better avenues, more job openings for young practitioners to join the corporate sector?
Yeah. So Shahara, prior discussing emerging trends, let's see why corporates need lawyers. You see, business operates in an increasingly regulated as well as complex environments. So lawyers are required to navigate risks, ensure compliances, and also make sound business decisions. So, and they are expected to act as strategic partners. So obviously there are entry-level opportunities for lawyers, not only young lawyers, even mid-career lawyers. If we talk about young lawyers, they can join legal and litigation divisions directly as legal executives or legal officers, where review for the tasks of job descriptions of reviewing agreements, handling compliances, coordinating litigation with external counsels, or maybe appear directly. And there are some other aspects like mergers and acquisitions, capital market regulatory work, so on and so forth. In addition, compliance or risk associate, that is the other job role available in corporate sector, where lawyers are expected to manage regulatory filing, especially in the aspect of anti-money laundering, then Personal Data Protection Act, Financial Action Task Force requirements to be complied with. Company secretarial assistance is another avenue where you can support board governance, taking down minutes, filing forms with ROC, liaising with your business partners. In addition, HR and IT legal, IR legal, this is international relations and human resources, where drafting employment contract, disciplinary procedures, attending to those and conducting disciplinary procedures are also available for lawyers. Then what are the key sectors that hire lawyers? Essentially, BFI, banking, financial, and insurance institutions, especially seek for lawyers for their conveyancing matters, litigation matters, recoveries, IP matters, so on and so forth. There's a wide variety of services can be provided by lawyers. Then conglomerates and multinational companies. Manufacturing companies, telecom companies, FMCG, fast-moving consumer good sectors. Then energy companies also look for lawyers. Tech companies is not new. There are multiple, plenty of tech companies available right now in the market, and especially in the areas of data privacy, intellectual property, as well as contract administration. They also look for lawyers. Professional service firms, law firms, tax firms, then audit firms, they also hire lawyers. So these are, I would say, traditional requirement for lawyers. But then again, there are emerging trends as well. Why would I say, especially in the areas of ESG? It's widely discussed nowadays. ESG stands for environmental and social governance, and companies go for that as a voluntary compliance. But then again, we expect that to come as a statutory compliance in future as well. So the lawyers have opportunity in that area. Data protection cyber laws were not even emerging. It has already in the market, where Personal Data Protection Act, in terms of the regulations, were expected to appoint a data protection officer for a company. So such job opportunities also available. Then GDPR, global data protection regulations in multinational companies, you need to comply those. In finance industry, there are fintech products, which is finance integrated with technology like Bitcoin and all. These are very limited niche markets, niche areas where lawyers can be knowledgeable and try, because these job opportunities will be there in future. Because traditional job opportunities such as legal officers they are fading right now, especially with the introduction of legal operation technology, artificial intelligence tools, because they have drafts readily available. Then of course it's just going through those and finalizing. So in a way, traditional lawyers' job is at threat in that event. So you need to probably look at these emerging trends. Public policy could be a area where I personally believe public policy will be discussing more in futures, together with different aspects of regulatory affairs. Then again, market expansions could happen for capital markets. There could be derivative trading, forward contracts trading, much more tradings will happen in future. There will be ISDA transaction, International Swaps and Derivative Association transactions could happen. So if lawyers should get themselves equipped to attend those, then of course I think you have unique careers and you will be successful as well.
Certainly. And what is your prediction, madam? I'll just go to a sub question of that earlier question. What is your prediction in the next 5-10 years? Would there be more job opportunities and vacancies for lawyers, or with artificial intelligence, would there be less?
That's what I said. Traditional job opportunities, those will be fading for sure. I mean, if you had, let's say, you had 10 lawyers working for contracts, then of course you will be there. You will require 2 or 3 for a company. But there'll be other sectors, emerging sectors. There'll be more opportunities. But then again, there'll be a definite skill gap. Whether you know how to handle it is a problem. Then only you have to forecast things and what courses to take on, and all. Young lawyers should be mindful.
Certainly, madam. And then I would like to move on to a very interesting question next, which I think was discussed in a few of our earlier series also. But I think this is, a very concerning question for many young lawyers, especially because now a lot of young lawyers complain that, whether they are in the legal practice or whether they are in, working elsewhere. A lot of, I mean, it's not only lawyers. I think it's, a complaint made by professionals across the board that more and more people are losing time to be with their family or for their recreation, all of that. So now I think a lot of professional bodies are moving more towards encouraging people to have a better work-life balance. And what is your opinion about the work-life balance of a legal practitioner in the corporate sector? Do you think it's much better than a legal practitioner who goes to courts, or much worse? Or, what can a lawyer in the corporate sector do to ensure that, they are not, sacrificing their family and their personal time for corporate work? And, maybe you have faced certain situations in your corporate career where, it's very difficult to, manage the demands from the workplace compared to the demands of your family and your personal life.
That's a very pertinent question, Shahara. But I think every lawyer, especially female lawyers, struggles with that at some point in their career. To be honest, I think work-life balance for a legal profession is never easy, despite of the category, either you are in corporate sector or in court practice, because the demands are high and expectations are constant. So it's all about how those demands are structured and managed. That's the avenues that we need to look at. So in court practices, you are at the mercy of external schedules, court dates, clients, last minute filings, unexpected mentions. Sometimes simple things like judges are not available, delays can completely disrupt your day, right? You might leave home early with a plan, but by noon, everything has changed. It's a profession that requires flexibility, stamina, and often long hours outside the courtroom preparing briefs and meeting clients. But then again, in corporate sector, the pressure is just as real, but it's different. You see, it's more structured, time-bound, and performance-driven. Why I say so? Because we also operate within timelines. We do have SLA, service level agreements, that we have signed with business partners. So we can't sit down on things, procrastinate. Those are documented as well. We have to, if there's a contract offered to us, we have to review and revert to them within 3 days, 5 days. We do have timelines to operate. And also, this time delivery directly affect our performance and appraisal and team evaluations as well. But that again, corporate environment gives you more control over your time. How you manage your time is up to you. Obviously, you can't procrastinate things, but you can plan for things, you see. You know when the board meetings are, when the compliance deadlines are. then when the audit season is coming up, those are somewhat, there's a predictability for corporate life. So then, of course, it gives you the leeway to integrate your personal and professional life much better and plan for it. For me personally, Shahara, work-life balance is always about discipline and boundaries. My subordinates also, I tell them, when you come to the office, leave all your personal problems at the door. When you go home, also don't take your work home. Just that's where probably you can draw the line of work-life balance. And also, I believe that being fully present wherever you are, you see, and focus completely. There are institutions, even families and institutions, as small as unit in the society and a company, wherever you go, you have to be present at that given time. I think when it comes to female lawyers, they have, fortunately or unfortunately, additional responsibilities, which we believe, such as caring for children, supporting family, managing home, etc. So they need, not only them but everybody in general, they need support system to handle their work life balance. Then again, taking care of yourself is also very much important. You can't expect to burn out because you should not go until the extent that you are burnout and things are at stake. You see, then. I think if I give you a straight answer to your question, yes, I believe corporate sector does offer a better environment for achieving work-life balance. But that again, it ultimately depends on how you manage yourself. You know, setting boundaries, communicating openly, delegating when needed, and remembering it's okay to pause. Your well-being matters more than anything else. I don't know. I personally believe you don't live to work. It's that you work to live could be different to you.
Certainly, madam. And I think that is something which not only applies to corporate sector, but also across the board to all professionals and all avenues of legal practice. And you also mentioned that, uh, when that not only young lawyers, but also lawyers mid-career can join the corporate sector. But I mean, what I have seen is that mostly, people join the corporate sector at a very early age, and very rarely does it is it an occurrence where people join the corporate sector mid-career. So if there's any lawyer who has maybe 5, 10, 15 years of practice in litigation and court work, are there any avenues for such a lawyer to join the corporate sector? And do you think that they should join the corporate sector? You know, and would how would that affect their career progression?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Shehara. I think this is something where practicing lawyers quietly wonder about. Probably do want to phrase it out and shout out loud. But there's often a perception that for corporate sector, you need to start early. But that's not always the case. You can enter the corporate sector at any point of your career, especially your mid-career is ideal. You know why? Because they can bring depth of experience, confidence, and judgment to corporate tables. But of course, there are advantages of joining early because the reason that you get adapted to corporate culture, learn internal processes, and become fluent in business language. There's a separate business language. So those are given. But that again, you cannot undermine the contribution the mid-career lawyers can make to corporate sector as a whole. But then again, if I give you some examples, litigation lawyers definitely can move into roles in dispute resolution, compliances, recoveries, in litigation departments, regulatory affairs matters, or maybe positions in corporate sectors. Criminal law practitioners can move into ethics, investigation, and internal audit, fraud management roles in a corporate sector. Then again, conveyancing and property lawyers can easily integrate themselves with real estate companies, can add very much value. Company secretarial and corporate lawyers, they also can make the move to do governance, board administration, and group legal roles as well. Employment and labor lawyers, they're ideal for HR, industrial relations, employee relation departments of a company. And they can draft policies, handle inquiries, then manage disciplinary matters as well. The tax and regulatory lawyers can move to corporate finance, internal tax planning, and compliance divisions of a corporate. So you can see actually there's a wide spectrum of opportunities for a mid-career lawyers. They can directly join as legal managers, compliance officers, risk specialists, or even governance advice, the roles as governance advisors. But there's something to be mindful when mid-career lawyers are joining a corporate would be learning a structured and performance-based environment to integrating themselves to an environment and collaboration within departments, corporate departments, as well as efficiency matters quite a lot, not like codes. Yeah.
Certainly, and I thank you for highlighting those separate avenues available for different types of lawyers, because one might think that the corporate sector is only open if you practice corporate law, but that is actually an eye opener where even lawyers who practice criminal law, or labor law, or tax law also have opportunities in the corporate sector. And that brings me to the next question, which I believe a lot of people are actually eager to know, which is about what the corporate sector looks for in a lawyer. Now, I'm sure, you being in your position, you must have sat through numerous interviews where new recruits are taken into your respective corporations. So, as a recruiter's point of view, when you look at a lawyer who wants to join the corporate sector, in addition to maybe having, obviously, in addition to having an LLB or they are attorneys at law, um, do you look for any other educational qualifications? Do you look for any other professional qualifications? And do you look for any other, what do we say, soft skills, or, any other attributes or qualities in a person before you recruit such a person into the corporate sector?
Yes, Shahara, apart from the basic qualifications, paper qualifications, as a point of view of the recruiter, especially when a law is concerned, we look at whether this person can go ahead with business thinking. It's a challenge for lawyers, and because lawyers are trained to focus on legal precisions and risk avoidance, whereas corporations prioritize commercial outcomes and risk optimization also. Then the legally safest option is not always the practical option in corporate. Therefore, I think lawyers should be they are expected to develop a commercial mindset if they intend to join corporate sector. The other thing is attitude matters quite a lot because especially adapting to corporate cultures and values of an organization, because corporate environment emphasize teamwork, collaboration, hierarchies. There's a structure, subordinates, supervisors, your reporting systems, corporate structure, your KPIs, key performance indicators, and timelines are very important. Then again, lawyers are expected to cultivate soft skills to avoid any difficulty in surviving in corporate sector, because sometimes we have multiple interviews conducted before hiring someone. Then again, we see we really good lawyers, so knowledgeable. I mean, we can give them so many marks, but then again, we send them to the next level. They fail because the culture examination is failed. You see, it's very pathetic because sometimes you also can't help because it's a process as such. But then again, companies expect them to have their attitude, soft skills developed to that level, because otherwise they can't integrate to the corporate values as well as culture as well. Then quickly making decisions, because I think companies expect you to make decisions yesterday. That's how it happens. You see, you have to be quite very fast. Managing cross-functional responsibilities, not like, I'm not going to undermine, but some people, they cannot multitask. they want to finish one thing and then go to next level. It's not like that, because as a corporate lawyer, you are loaded with so many work at the same time. You have to attend to IP matter, contract, then again look into some litigations unless you are attached to a specific team. Then again, even within a team, also so many tasks are assigned to you. Then again, you should be able to multitask. So it's very important. Then again, balancing confidentiality and transparency, because lawyers are expected to they are bound by confidentiality as a rule, but overprotecting information might jeopardize and antagonize other departments. Then again, you know where to draw the line. Certain information you cannot divulge, and this is a sensitive in nature. So some of these things you have to be mindful. Yeah, so I think.
Certainly, madam. And also, can you also comment on this is actually an extension of the earlier question I asked. Now, recruiting is one part of the process, and there is another part which happens within the organization, which I think a lot of potential corporate lawyers and also corporate lawyers who are already in the field are concerned, which is about career progression and promotions within the company. So, as someone who has been a decision maker in deciding whether promotion should be granted or not, what do you look for in a lawyer when deciding whether, you know, should this person be given a promotion? Should he be made a manager? Should he should he progress in his career? Are there any particular attributes or soft skills that you would look for in a legal practitioner in the corporate sector?
Yeah, Shahar, in corporate world, it happens in very transparent manner. It happens in a merit-based manner, because at the beginning of the year, you are given KPIs, that is key performance indicators. There's a balance in our company. Of course, we adopt balanced scorecard methods. Then in certain, there are perspectives, finance, internal process, customers, likewise. Then of course, based on these areas, you are given certain KPIs. So you need to at least not to meet that, excel in those for you to get a promotion. For instance, now your service deliveries, you are expected to deliver as per the timelines. But if you deliver ahead of timelines, then of course you are a performer. You see, I'm supposed to respond to this contract within 3 days' time, but I'm so enthusiastic, I do it tonight for you. So it's like extra performance, we recognize it as. Then, of course, it goes to a better rating. So such performance identified, but that comes with attitudes as well, because I think more than everything else in a corporate, attitude matters quite a lot. And how you can collaborate, how you can sync with other departments, all these attributes are rated. All your values, all your competencies are rated, and it's integrated to year-end evaluation process, and based on that, your promotions are considered.
Certainly. And also you mentioned something very important, which is soft skills. And I think, again, this is not only limited to lawyers. I think this is a very important aspect which affects all professionals across the board in all fields, which is the lack of soft skills. Now, Sri Lanka Law College and law faculty, they do give education pertaining to the academics of law. But do you, from a corporate lawyer's point of view, think that lawyers who come out of these institutions to the job market, in effect, do you think that there is a not a lack, but there is a shortcoming of soft skills, a shortcoming of the corporate attitudes required from the corporate sector in those who come to the job market from as early legal practitioners? And are there any proposals you would like to suggest from your end to correct this?
I think soft skill is something, I mean, there are two aspects to this, as I see. It's your individuality, how you carry yourself. But if you think you are a very introvert person, extroverts are anyway rewarded in that extent. If you are identified to be an introvert, then of course you need to be mindful of your soft skills, because it's easier to climb the ladder when your soft skills are at good level. So I think probably rather than it's college matter or somewhere else, I think it's something to do with individuality. But it's also good for corporates or maybe law faculties or law colleges to consider this as an aspect, obviously. This is like etiquettes and probably way to conduct yourself, or maybe how to greet someone, meet someone. So these simple, and I mean, when you are in foreign countries, you have finishing schools. So it's required because there is a requirement for that, because you are valued and probably recognized better way. So if that's the case, it's always good to conduct a session or maybe courses, but there are like grooming sessions. There are some in corporates also. If we find, I mean, not five people are different to each other, but we do have training programs, not only for lawyers, but in general for corporates, where some trainers, they come and teach you how to do this, how to hold a spoon and fork, and everything is taught from the beginning. So it's always good to go ahead with such training programs for lawyers as well. So because lawyers are viewed as respectable people in society, probably I think we have the duty to carry that as it is and keep the standard.
Certainly, madam. I would also like to, just bring to everyone's attention that the Bar Association of Sri Lanka has actually initiated a few programs in soft skills development, and this year there were many trainings held for law students as well as apprentices in development of their soft skills. And I think this is something which the Bar Association is really interested in developing further. So certainly
That's
um,
wonderful.
your your input would be very valuable for the Bar Association in the in the execution of the next few projects. And we also have a few questions in our Q&A box. We will go to them at the end. So once again, to all the participants, if you all have any questions which you like to bring out and ask from Ms. Harshini Deshapriya about corporate sector, about work-life balance, and anything which is not even discussed in today's program, you're free to post your question in the Q&A box. And with that, I come to our next question. This is a very general question. So, as someone who has been in, who has done a bit of court practice and then who has joined the corporate sector and climbed the corporate ladder to be in a very prestigious position now, what advice would you give law students and young lawyers or mid-career lawyers who want to join the corporate sector? I mean, a lot of them were already discussed, but are there any final, maybe some tips or some advices you would like to give them, madam?
That's a lovely question, Shara. That's close to my heart as well. But I think my first piece of advice would be open-minded. When you step into corporate sector, be open-minded, because corporate world is really different from traditional practice. Yeah, it's a fast-paced, dynamic, constantly evolving. Then you need to think not from purely legal perspective, but as a strategist. Then again, build a strong foundation in commercial awareness. Just read about things, businesses, and at least learn yourself to read financial statements, educate yourself on corporate governance, compliance frameworks, data protection, new laws will be really helpful. Then again, focus on developing your soft skills that we discussed extensively before as well. It's really important. I think more than your intelligence, your soft skills can bring you, I mean, knowledge you can gain, but to change your soft skills, it's very difficult. I can't say no, but then again, it's very tricky, I would say. Yeah. Then again, be disciplined with time. In corporate sector, efficiency matters quite a lot. And especially corporate legal divisions are viewed as bottlenecks for transactions, typically in banks, and because of the time taken. Then again, businesses is so widely growing and they're so concerned about their own clients. You are expected to deliver yesterday. That's what I'm saying. You expect everything is urgent at the end of the day. Everything is urgent. So therefore, time matters quite a lot. Then start somewhere that will give you exposure. Do some, even if you get an opportunity, just go ahead with that. Especially like junior executive roles, even if you can get an internship. I would also like to tell you in JXG, we have an opening for a legal executive litigation position. You can reach out to us and we have a vacancy that we can consider new entrants for that position as well. Then you are not expected to lose your ethical compass while doing that. So those are the concerns, advices I would probably wish to give young lawyers.
Certainly, madam. And thank you for sharing the opportunity available at Janashakti Group. Also, maybe you could share with us an email where the lawyers who could,
Certainly, certainly, I will do
yeah,
that.
who are interested in joining Janashakti Group, which I think is a very reputable company who has been in business for many decades in Sri Lanka. So now, as we conclude our formal discussion or the question session with you, I would like to move on to the questions posted by uh, participants. So, right. So we have the first question. So again, there is a request to compare this with the general legal practice and the corporate sector in terms of career progression. How do you see career progression in the corporate sector as opposed to the general legal practice? Do you see that, there are more opportunities for career progression and for one to develop their career, or is it better in the legal practice?
So it all depends on how you perceive things and what you want in your career. Now, when it comes to corporate, we do have hierarchies. As I told you, company has its own structure. It depends. It's different from one company to another. But that again, you start with legal executive, legal officer grade. Then you can the career ladder would be assistant manager, senior assistant manager, manager, senior manager, AGM, DGM. Then again, group chief. So that's where probably typically where you find the career ladder. But then again, based on your experience and how you perform, there are always chances for you to climb up in the ladder. Because in my divisions, we at least, probably it's not good to say, but we have at least one promotion a year. So it's not that traditionally, I think traditionally corporates look at not promoting people, but now I think corporates are quite open to promote people and give them the authorities, but they're expected to. If you're in the manager level, you have to act as a manager. You can't be a legal officer, go home 8 to 5, not look at things, and then expect the manager remuneration as well as manager role. It's not about prestige. You have to carry that weight and responsibility. So if you're open to do that, definitely there are opportunities. I mean, we rarely see for legal divisions that they recruit from outside. They always try to promote in-house. So definitely there's a career progression. I think practice, it's just how you it all depends on your individual skill sets or what chambers that you are attached to, from whom that you get attribute then all depends on that. But I think corporate world, it's more structured. I think you have a better career progression in corporate sector. Not that you don't have in when you practice, but you have I mean, it's all within you then. You have to be a superstar, you have to outperform, other lawyers. I don't know, you have to undercut. I don't know probably what things are over there. But then again, how I don't know how purely unethical some of the things that you have to do. But corporate, it's not like that. It's quite transparent, I would say.
Certainly, madam. And then I move on to the next question, which is now when a legal practitioner who is, who has been accustomed to working in a chamber of law with a senior counsel, and then he makes a change to join the corporate sector, what would he be met with in terms of the difference of the working environment?
This is someone who's shifting from chambers to it's the
Corporate sector.
corporate sector. It would be, I think we discussed this before as well, but that again, your working hours typically is limited to working hours of a corporate. That is one of the things, especially applicable for lawyers. But then again, other
And
than
let me interrupt, madam. I think there would also be a requirement for such a lawyer to be a team player in a corporate setting rather than a individual person in.
exactly. So it's collaboration, efficiency, adapting to culture, what we all discussed. I can tell you as a response. Yeah.
Certainly. And my final question to you, madam. Now, we all, as a lawyer, we obviously have a qualification in law. And if there's anyone who is currently studying law, maybe in the faculty or law college, do you suggest that they acquire additional professional or educational qualifications to complement their degree in law in order to join the corporate sector? And do you think that such a additional qualification in terms of maybe uh, academic or professional would carry a great influence in being recruited into the corporate sector?
Definitely, Shara. The reason being because you understand that language, you understand that discipline. So it's easier for you to deal with that. Even now, I mean, this is something I should tell everyone. Generally, numbers aspect of lawyers is very poor. I mean, the lawyers hardly can write a billion, hardly can write a trillion. So
Yeah.
that's where it stands. You see how many zeros it has, how many digits it has. Everyone, when so that question is asked, only few lawyers come up with the correct answer. So it's really important, especially to be familiar with the numbers. So in that event, SIMA and other accounting qualifications will be definitely added advantage. Then again, HR qualifications. When I was reading for my law degree, I simultaneously completed professional qualification in human resources management. Then again, but I think you have so many opportunities out there right now. So it's always good if you intend to join corporate sector, please do something else. It's good for your learning. Nothing goes waste. And probably after some time, when you after joining the company, you probably think that I will let go of my law career. I probably join that department and work there. That's also an option. It's also opportunities. Probably you're good at that, then it's always what it's not predetermined for someone. You should do what you are good at. So if you come join a corporate as a lawyer, then again you think your other attributes and aspects are at better range, then of course you should go for it.
Certainly. And then I will pose the final question which we have from the participants, which is now you're a lady lawyer and a lady lawyer in the corporate sector. And what we see is if you look at our university system and Sri Lanka Law College is usually about 60-70% of the students are female. I think that is the case even today. That was the case when I was in law college. And I think more and more girls are getting into not only law, but into academics as a whole. But when we look at a typical courtroom, it's dominated by males. And if you look at counsel who appear in courts, it's dominated by males. If you look at counsel who become president's counsel, I think 90% are males. Is it the same when it comes to the corporate sector? And do you think it's more challenging to be a woman in the corporate sector compared to a man joining the corporate sector?
I would say anyway, it's challenging to be a woman and live like a woman. It's obvious, it's given. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you need to outstand. I need to have courage and resilience to stand as a probably female lawyer or maybe a leader. Even when you see that's quite when you look at corporate also, even though there are so many competent, skillful ladies out there, very few are in number in the boards of companies. So something like that. So there's an inherent challenge for ladies or maybe female lawyers or maybe other professionals to come up in career, but it's always not the case. But I think nowadays, um nowadays there's a slight tendency of changing that pattern as well. That of course I've seen in most of the corporates. We've seen top tier, there are so many women professionals. So that's not obviously an obstacle, but that again, how you carry yourself as a female, as a professional, female professional. So where you want to settle down, whether you want to accept challenges, turn the challenges into opportunities, and stand out from the crowd. So those are the probably attributes that female can possess to climb up in their profession.
Thank you for sharing that insight, madam. I think certainly that will inspire a lot of young girls who are at law college, law faculty, and young lady lawyers who aspire to be, a part of the corporate sector. And I think with that we come. I think we have. Sorry, that's not a question. We have come to the end of the questions posted by the participants for this program. With that, I think we can come to the conclusion of today's discussion. So
Yeah,
once again,
if
sorry, madam.
if you give me the opportunity to have a closing remark, if time
Certainly,
is
certainly,
permitted,
madam.
yes,
Of
I
course,
will,
of course.
I will advise all the good young lawyers out there. There's no substitute for hard work. Shahara, do you know the only place where success appears before work? Can you guess? It's the dictionary only. So therefore, you have to work hard in life. There's no pain, no gain. If I would like to share the legal maxim, labor omnia vincit, work conquers all. So every small effort adds up something meaningful to your life, right? And then again, believe in yourself. Then confidence does not come automatically, right? Then your connections might open doors, but your competencies, credibilities, and consistencies that will keep you in the room. Uh, Finally, I would like to say no matter where your career takes you, courtroom, boardroom, or beyond that, never lose your reason why you became a lawyer in the first place. To stand for what is right, to bring fairness, and to make a difference. That's what makes this profession so powerful and meaningful as well.
Thank you so much, madam, for your time and mostly importantly for your inspiration for young lawyers. So again, on behalf of the Bar Association and the symposiums and webinars committee, I would like to thank you for sharing your insights with us and the legal profession in general, and for taking time off your busy schedule. I'm sure, having being in your position, you must be going through so much of responsibilities. But thank you for taking time off your busy schedule for and sharing your insights with young lawyers who desire to be a part of the corporate sector, who desire to, climb up their career ladders. And once again, to all the participants, we would like to thank all of you for being a part of this webinar. And please subscribe to the Bar Association YouTube channel for more discussions on different avenues of law, for different opportunities available, and so on and so forth. So with that, we would like to conclude today's discussion. And I would like to hand over the floor to um, our compeer, Rochelle, for the
Thank you
closing
for having
remarks.
me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Shara. This brings us to the end of episode 10 of our webinar series of Why Corporate Sector. And I thank our esteemed guests, Ms. Harshini Deshapre and Mr. Shahara Herat, for the fruitful and educational discussion and for dedicating our time to be here with us and sharing your thoughts. I thank the BSL Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee for their dedication and hard work in organizing this insightful webinar. And last but not least, I thank all of you who have joined in for this session today through various platforms for the interactive discussion we've had. Thank you, and I hope you all have a good night.